It's an absolute classic. Show some respect. What's going on? It's Chris from 416 Coffee, and this is episode 23 of Coffee with Chris. Now, in this episode, I wanted to do a brew tutorial with the Chemex. So, this is a classic brewer. Sorry, the kettle's warming up, probably making a bunch of noise. This is a classic brewer, classic silhouette. Great way to brew a lot of coffee or a little coffee, depending on the size you have. And you can get great results out of this. You can brew something that has a lot of body, that has a lot of kind of chocolatey nutty tones, or it does also work great for lighter roasted coffees that are going to give you more citrusy, floral, kind of more of a delicate palate feel. So this is a complete classic, and it's super easy to do. So you're going to need your Chemex. You're going to need the Chemex filter. You do not need a Hario V60 server, but I have one here just because I don't have a sink nearby. So when I preheat the brewer, I'm gonna have to pour that water somewhere. There it is. I'm brewing half a liter of coffee today, 500 milliliters. So I have 35 grams of freshly roasted coffee from Uganda, actually. So this is a Latour and Dutch project coffee that we're thinking about bringing in. It's actually a yeast fermented product, so super interesting coffee here. I'll talk about that in another video. But we have 35 grams and it's ground medium. So right around what you would for a traditional drip brewer. Now, with the Chemex, you can go coarser, you can go closer to French press, or closer to drip. I wouldn't go any finer than drip. That's about as fine as I would go for this particular brewer. You'll need a spoon and a scale. And of course, boiling hot water, and hopefully you have a gooseneck kettle. If not, I mean, you can do this definitely, if you can really control your pour with the traditional kettle, it'll work just fine. So, first things first, we're gonna take our paper filter, fold it back up into the square, separate it so that 3 pieces of paper are gonna face the channel over here. And then the single side is gonna go to the back. So it's gonna go in like this. Now, the reason why we have 3 to this side and 1 to this side is so that hopefully the 3 are strong enough to keep this channel open so we don't get an airlock. If we do get an airlock during the brew, we're just gonna have to pinch it up to keep the air open. Some people wedge like a chopstick in there, a plastic chopstick or something. I don't really do that. I'll just pinch it up if I have to, but hopefully the 3 keeps that air channel open. So first things first, we're gonna preheat our brewer. Preheat and soak that filter. So be generous with the amount of water you use. You really want to soak the filter. Make sure you get any papery taste out of it, and you want to make sure the brewer is nice and hot. Now the Chemex is obviously glass, so the brewer usually keeps thermal temperature pretty well. Okay, so now that it's preheated, go ahead, flick it on, flick on your scale, add your 35 grams of coffee, make a well with your finger right in the middle, and then we can zero out the scale, and we're going to add 70 grams of water to start our bloom. So let's be mindful here, 70 grams. All right, perfect. So now start your timer and agitate this. As you can see, the bloom's going on. A bunch of CO2 is coming off the coffee. And the reason why we bloom is because coffee holds a lot of gases. That's why it has the great aroma it does. So when we bloom, we're allowing the CO2 to escape and getting that coffee molecule, the cells of coffee ready to take on water and brew. If we brew all at once, the CO2 escaping can interfere with the water entering, and we can have like kind of an incomplete or under extracted brew. So after 30 seconds, we have 70 grams in. We're gonna add 130 grams of water and take this to 200. So we're making nice circles, and we're agitating the coffee bed. Okay, so now we're at 200. We're gonna wait about 25 seconds, and we're gonna add another 100 grams of water. We're going to take it to 300. So once again, nice circles, agitating the coffee bed. We're going to 300 now. So once again, now we're going to wait about 30 seconds. And then we're going to do one more 100 gram pour to 400. As you can see, our channel is open. We have nice airflow here. It's brewing nicely. We're coming up on the 2-minute mark, and now we're going to add, at 2 minutes, we're going to add another 100 grams. Okay, so now at around 240, we're gonna add 50 grams around the edge. So we're gonna try to do what's called a wash down, just to get all that coffee that's going to the sides down to the middle, so we have a nice complete extraction at the end. So now that we've kind of washed everything down, we have one more 50 gram pour. We're at about 3 minutes. We're gonna do one more 50 gram pour, and then we're gonna let this draw down. And now we're just gonna let this draw down. So the reason why we do the wash downs at the end, we're getting everything into the coffee bed. What you want to look for here to know if you're kind of getting a good extraction out of a Chemex is a nice flat coffee bed when it's done brewing. If you see any holes or air pockets, or if there's like mountains, then we know that we had an uneven extraction. Maybe our pouring was too aggressive. Maybe we didn't do the bloom correctly. Could be a variety of different things. But just play with it. You'll get your pour down. Make sure you have a nice, even, flat coffee bed at the end. That's so you know you're getting a nice, complete extraction where there's not water channeling and you're not getting kind of an uneven extraction, or there's areas where water's finding its way through too quickly. Now, for 500 mils, I find that it takes, usually 4:30 to 5 minutes, kind of complete brew time at this fineness. If you find that's too long, or if you find you're getting maybe an over-extracted flavor out of the coffee, maybe it's a little too harsh, a little too acidic, then you want to coarsen up that grind a bit. And then obviously if you're finding the coffee tasting hollow, a little weak, tighten it up a little bit and go a bit finer. The nice thing about the Chemex is it is a beautiful vessel to kind of serve the coffee in after you're done brewing. So it's a 2-in-1, and the cleanup is actually very minimal. Like once this is done brewing, and it's just about getting there, you can simply pop this thing out and you're good to go. You're completely good to go. It's a rinse and a bit of soap if you're really weirded out about it after, and you're good to use the vessel again. And the filters are about 30% thicker than normal coffee filters, so you do get an extremely clean cup. Like you do not get any sediment. There's no kind of grittiness or anything like that. It really does give you a clean cup and lets the flavors of the coffee shine. We're just finishing up here. And there you have it. And that is how you brew a bunch of delicious Chemex coffee. So, thank you as always so much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.